Welcome to this podcast for Brighton School of Business and Management students studying for the Btec Level 5 courses. For this unit you'll need to satisfy the criteria exactly as laid down in the assignment brief and as described here, but you should wherever possible use examples from your own organisation and business sector, as well as showing evidence of having studied the unit topics in depth and breadth by referring where appropriate to relevant models, theories and established best practices. To enhance your understanding of these assignment issues, we strongly advise that you also discuss them with operational and senior managers and specialists within your own organisation. Each section should be approximately 400 words, although this is flexible up to around 500 words, not including graphics or illustrations, so you'll need to keep your responses focused on what is being specifically asked for in each section. Section 1. Here you need to explain strategic context and terminology, including missions, visions, objectives, goals, core competencies, etc. Give definitions and examples of each, and then explain what their purpose is and why they are used. Most organisations have a wide range of stakeholders, that is individuals and groups who have a legitimate interest in or role in the organisation, for example employees, shareholders, funding organisations, suppliers, customers and clients, local communities and so on. You need to explain why it is important to be aware of the needs of each of these groups or individuals and the influence they can have on the success of an organisation. On bullet point 3, the term environmental can be a little confusing, but in the context of business strategy it means the external business environment. So that is political, social, legal, technological, economic, including competitor activity, and of course environmental as in pollution, etc., which is summed up with the acronym PESTLE, which used to be STEEP. The most commonly used organisational audit tool is the SWOT analysis, which usually requires a considerable amount of data gathering and analytical activity before the actual data is analysed. However, for this assignment you need to gather as much information as you reasonably can and then prepare a relatively simple SWOT analysis on a specific organisation, ideally your own, or one typical of your business sector, and if this is not possible then please consult your tutor. You also need to prepare an environmental PESTLE analysis on a specific organisation, again ideally your own or one typical of your business sector, and if this is not possible then please consult your tutor. Following on from the above, select, describe an outline and briefly justify a strategy to help that organisation to position itself, that is, choose a place, a presence in the market where it feels it can be successful in the future, such as a first mover, market leader, cost leader, focused differentiation, or perhaps a more subtle positioning such as customer satisfaction leader. Section 2. Here you need to demonstrate an ability to think strategically and show this through the plan that you prepare for your organisation or one approved by your tutor, which is designed to lay down a pathway or a direction that the organisation should follow to move successfully into the future. As with any plan, there must be objectives, an overall timescale, stage targets, quality levels and resource utilisation, and it would be helpful here to study some of the different project management planning tools and techniques. Section 3. For this section you'll need to briefly describe, compare and contrast substantive growth, limited growth and retrenchment, and any other strategy you feel should be considered, and explain why each of these would be or would not be suitable for your selected organisation in certain situations and or stages in the organisation's life cycle. Then select and briefly justify an alternative strategy you feel would help that organisation be successful in the future. Section 4. Regarding roles and responsibilities, in essence, strategic planning, implementation, monitoring and control of the strategy is carried out by different people, individuals or teams, depending on the type of organisation, their size, business sector, whether they are public or private sector organisations and so on. To illustrate this, you need to consider the massive differences in who has responsibility for strategic planning in diverse organisations like a local authority, a small private commercial business, a global company such as Microsoft, a charity such as Oxfam, and the armed forces. For bullet point 2, ideally focusing on the strategic plan from section 2, you'll need to give an outline summary of the time, funds or budget, people, skills and equipment needed to implement the strategy that you have selected. Bullet point 3 is in essence asking for a monitoring and control plan, ideally for the strategic plan you prepared in section 2, including appropriate monitoring and control points in time or related to stages and events, some explanation of how progress against the plan would be evaluated and how corrective action would be taken. Don't forget that you also need to add a list of sources of information and references showing any books, websites, articles, case studies, reports, internal documents and people interviewed that you drew on in order to complete your assignment. The sources of information and references are not included in your word count. Here is a list of websites you should find useful when preparing this assignment. Finally, if you need any further help or assistance with this assignment, please contact your tutor.